Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. We're breaking down all the hot topics everyone's discussing. We'll be discussing the new Trump administration, its impact on immigration. Also, Jaleel White discusses whether or not there will be a reboot of Family Matters. And Lamar Odom went shopping for an interesting new bedroom companion. We'll talk about all that. We're monitoring all over social media, Facebook, X, and of course, Instagram, The Stephen Knight Show. You can also go to our YouTube channel, The Stephen Knight Show. Please subscribe, comment, like, share. We definitely appreciate you. Now, today is American Diabetes Month, where the ADA claimed that people first observed National Diabetes Month in 1975. Organizations come together to launch initiatives, run campaigns, and increase awareness efforts. It's also Anti-Bullying Week, and I was listening to something earlier today talking about how bullying has gone out of control on social media, where people can hide behind fake profiles, etc. So do right, people. We all grow. And today we got to shout out our veterans. It is Veterans Day. Thank you for everyone for their service who's fought for our freedoms that hopefully we'll be able to keep. And we just recognize you today and thank you for all that you do. Family,
can I add something on to Veterans Day?
Absolutely.
Today, Harriet Tubman was recognized as a general.
Yeah.
In the fight of freedom and democracy.
Mm-hmm.
For running the Underground Railroad, and she was the first leader of a group of men in wartime. So she was named a one-star general.
Wow.
For the Maryland State's National Guard.
Wow. And they say women can't lead.
I'm sorry, real quick. My dad served in the Marines, and my brother, God rest his soul, served in the Army, and he was in Desert Storm.
Wow. Thank them both for their service. Definitely. Well, especially outside of Veterans Day is my nephew's birthday. So shout out to Jay. Happy birthday to you, young man. All right. Well, our question of the day is, do you tip on takeout orders? Linnea.
Now, I just need to clarify. You mean if I place an order and I have to go pick it up, or if they're delivering it?
If you're picking it up, go and pick it up.
Hell no. No.
What about you, Chike?
So, because I am who I am, I tend to change menus at restaurants. I get them to maneuver things.
Oh, you're one of those?
I am. So a certain dish, if I think that it should have a certain something else in it, I'll ask them to do it. Linnea knows I'm good for that.
Yeah.
And they'll make a whole new dish. And sometimes I look up and they'll wind up putting what I like on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
However, if a place that I like and they do it to my liking, I may give them a little extra when I go in because they're accommodating me.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to do it.
Right.
So, in those instances, yes.
I have a friend of mine. I have never been anywhere with him, and he orders it just as it comes. It's always take this, add this. I remember one time we went to this little pizza place, and I was telling him, they're like $2.50 pizzas, slices. And so by the time he finished, they're like, that's 9 something. He said it was $2. I said, yeah, before you add all the extra meats and all the.
Yeah.
Brittany, the question of the day is, do you tip on takeout orders? Like if you order you order a meal, go pick it up. Do you tip?
I think I might have missed the context because I was like, are we talking about like running in and grabbing something from like Starbucks from the drive-through, or like
a restaurant?
Am I going into a
restaurant? You call ahead of time. I like the order whatever, then you go pick it up.
Okay, I might tip then. But if I'm going like to Starbucks or like, them other places where it just be like Panera, and I'm going in and getting something, and I'm not tipping in. I'm not giving $1. I'm not donating to no kids I don't know about. I'm just going straight in, getting my food and going. But if it's a restaurant, then yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll give a couple dollars if it's a takeout order. But I don't give them as much as I would give if I was sitting down and eating.
I agree.
But it's interesting. We're talking about prior to record. We're talking about the tip culture. How everyone wants you to tip something. I went to get a spare key today, and they asked me if I wanted to donate $1 to plant a tree.
Or then the tip be in the meal. We went to the Real Milk and Honey or Bosa out here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And the tip was like a whole nother entree.
Oh yeah.
And then they still want you to tip on top of the tip in the receipt. And
Mhm.
so it just be like, I'm not doing that. You're not gonna get $30 and then be like an additional tip at the end. I'm not
Yeah.
doing that either.
Yeah. And you know, our places love to do stuff like that. It's here in Atlanta. All right. Well, the question of the day is, do you tip on takeout orders? Please tweet us on X at Stephen Knight Show SHO. It's not the Stephen Knight Show, it's Stephen Knight Show SHO. All right. Well, President-elect Donald Trump has promised a sweeping overhaul of U.S. immigration policy, one that aims to build upon and escalate the already stricken measures of his first term. Per his plans he shared throughout his campaign, Trump intends to commence mass deportations of millions of people, a project that could be marked by widespread workplace raids and the involvement of U.S. military, all while putting federal resources into expanding the border wall at the U.S.-Mexican border. Now, should Trump move forward with his proposed agenda, it would present a dramatic shift in American immigration policy, targeting millions of undocumented immigrants and redefining the nation's approach to newcomers. Trump's dark view of immigration has helped define his political career since he launched his first presidential campaign in 2015. His rhetoric around the issue has raised concerns that his immigration agenda is rooted in an idealized fantasy of racial purity. He said in a speech in December that immigrants coming to the U.S. are poisoning the blood of our country. Last month, he said undocumented immigrants who committed murder have bad genes. Now, here are some of the things that he's already committed to doing. And, you know, since he's now president-elect, he's been doing interviews talking about it. So on mass deportations, he made plans for mass deportations of undocumented immigrants, a central feature of his immigration discussion ahead of securing his second term. He signaled an ambition to carry out what he calls the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. It could mean a years-long effort to remove an estimated 11 million people who are in the country without authorization. The Trump administration aims to leverage expediting removal processes, which allow a rapid deportations without the usual legal hearings. Now, the person he is nominated as his border czar, he worked as a police officer and he also worked at the border. And he did an interview that aired on 60 Minutes last night, and they asked him, is there a way that you can do mass deportation without separating parents from their children? And he said, yes, deport the whole family. So starting with mass deportations, Chike, you know, they're saying that their whole basis is that these immigrants are coming to the country and causing all these crimes and breaking rules, where studies show that they are less likely to break rules than Americans. And they're not 11 million criminals to deport. So we're looking at deporting U.S. citizens. We're talking about taking their whole families with them. So, Chike, what are your thoughts on the mass deportation?
The views of Chike Evans are not connected to the Stephen Knight Show. These are my beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
I think the crime is that they're brown. That's the crime. And you know, everybody's been using this term that I love so much. They effed around, and now they're finding out. And you're going to see in this deportation, this mass deportation, how vital these immigrants are to our American ecosystem.
Yeah.
Right? They're talking about this, and we're focusing on the deportation. All these people are going to leave. And I'm going to quote the wonderful Rachel Maddow. Watch this space of who comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much who leaves. And that's detrimental, but you have to watch who comes in. Because the whole thing is stopping the browning of America.
Mm-hmm.
Just watch.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a video we posted on Instagram, and it's a gentleman, he's speaking with an Asian gentleman, and he said the reason why he voted for Trump is because he wanted to protect the white Americans and not let them become a minority, essentially. And Lanier, these migrants, they're paying taxes. Most of them are paying taxes. They're contributing to our Social Security that they can't benefit from. But they're, certain, things like Social Security, again, they're paying into that. So what are your thoughts when it comes to mass deportation and them threatening to use the military for that?
My thought process is, I have none. This is what y'all wanted, right? This is what you wanted. This is what you're getting. And now to see a lot of people flocking to social media and crying because now they're scared. But you weren't scared because you believe the hype. You let fear mongering precede common sense.
Mm-hmm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, at this point in the game with America sells people a bill of dreams about coming over here and getting a house and the 2.5 kids and the dog and the white picket fence. But that's only for white people. That's not for us. And they said it with their whole chest as loud as they could up until this point, and people still to ignore that. Y'all crying, but I told Chike about a story, and I don't know if you posted it, Stephen. It was a lady, a Spanish lady, being interviewed by a white guy. He said, "Well, Trump is going to start deporting people," and she's like, "That's okay." And then he was like, "But don't you have relatives who've been here for like over 20 years?" She said, "That's okay, they can go."
Yeah.
And it was like, what? And then he was like, "But," she was like, "But I'm okay." He was like, "But no, they're talking about deneutralizing those who became citizens." And she's like, "No,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not bad." What do you mean you're not bad? You saying about being bad?
Right.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them assimilate to white. That's why we're here. But this ain't a blame game. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Because guess what? Black women did their part. Black men did their part. Ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah. Brittany, Hispanic men, Latin men overwhelmingly voted for Trump. And I saw this interview. They interviewed a gentleman. He's Latin. He voted for Trump, and he's a barber. Under the Biden administration, he opened 3 barbershops, but he said that most people are voted for him because of the economy. You must have been doing well to open 3 barbershops in 4 years. But they're talking about workplace raids. They said the second Trump administration plans to expand workplace raids as a method of identifying and apprehending undocumented immigrants. A strategy which he also ramped up in his first term aims to increase visibility and enforcement of immigration laws in everyday settings, targeting industries that frequently employ unauthorized workers. I saw Anna Navarro. She said a lot of her friends in Miami who voted for Trump asked her, "What do I do with my nannies? They're undocumented." She said, "Learn to wipe their asses yourself." Brittany, what are your thoughts on all of this?
I'm kind of with Lanier. It ain't got nothing to do with me. They put them in the office and now they want us to have an opinion on it. I could care less. At this point, I'm just trying to make it through the 4 years. If we do get the opportunity to vote again and he don't take that away. And so here we go again. So my thing is the deportation, the denaturalization, it's the death penalty for nonviolent crimes, to which we know the highest drug dealers are Black and brown people. So that now they're going to kill the people that they convict of nonviolent crimes to keep America white. And they took abortion away to keep white women from killing their babies. So I'm just trying to make it through these 4 years and see if I'm going to have the right to vote or if I'm going to be a property again. And then try to do my best to exercise any rights I might still have. And we might get shut down for asking our opinions. Care less about the immigrations because some of my rights might be taken away. And clearly the Latinos wanted this. So they wanted to go home.
And
Them
And
and I
sorry,
believe
Stephen,
that
can I
everybody
add
else.
to what you talking about the whole nanny thing?
yeah,
And because of how this administration is going to move and the nature of that person that's ahead of it, I wouldn't be too certain that he would not criminalize people that try to protect people who are, here illegally, and
yeah,
they're trying, like the nannies that you're trying to save. You might want to think twice about trying to save them because you can go up the river too.
yeah. He's talked about ending birthright citizenship. The Biden administration, they tried to enforce a law, and this used to be a law back in the day, I remember, but that where if you marry a citizen, you get some kind of legal status in the country. Right after Trump won, the Supreme Court shot that down. And then in New York, they were giving, they were busing the migrants to New York. New York was giving a $300 voucher to some of the migrants that qualified, $300 a week. And the mayor just ended that.
I think that I'm sorry.
Can I touch on that New York part real quick?
Mm-hmm.
And this is not the views of the Stephen Knight Show. That mayor in New York did that to save his own behind.
Mm-hmm.
New York is a Democratic state.
Yeah.
Because he's under with the feds.
Yeah.
He to save his own behind. So look at how that plays out as we move forward, because I'm not feeling that decision to do that as the election was called. Flip the script, because he don't want to go jail.
Right.
What about the black lady still going for Trump case? And then they said, yeah, they not playing around with her fat ass.
Oh yeah, Letitia James. Yeah,
they not playing games with her fat ass, and they gonna stop it. I think that the problem when I talk to Trump supporters is they think that he just talking. A lot of these Trump supporters feel as though Trump made a lot of empty promises his last administration and did not fulfill a lot of things because he makes a lot of empty threats and false promises. Which, yes, some things he does say just for the wow factor, but I think that y'all are underestimating the fact that now the Senate is red, he stacked the Supreme Court, and now the House of Republicans is about to be red.
Yeah, the House of Representatives. Yeah, but they said when he ran the first time, he didn't think he was going to win. And so when he had his transition team and start picking his cabinet, he did the normal practice. But now he knows the government, he knows who he wants in there, and he's putting in place people that will do what he wants. And like you said, he won the Senate and the House of Representatives. Let's switch gears real quick. So San Francisco 49ers defense end Nick Bosa. You remember him? He was at a game where he, NFL game, and they were interviewing another player afterwards, and he ran on camera with his MAGA hat on and flashed the camera. Initially, after the game, when they have the team press conference, he didn't really want to talk about it. He since said that if he were to be fined just after the election, that he didn't care and it was worth it. Well, now he has been fined for $11,000 for violating the NFL uniform and equipment rules, which he decided to wear the hat, which contained a personal image. The NFL rules state that players are prohibited from wearing, displaying, or otherwise conveying personal messages, either in writing or illustration, unless such message has been approved in advance by the league office. Bosa reportedly stated that he was aware of his actions and that would result in a fine. He said it was worth it. Now, mind you, Colin Kaepernick took a knee. which he had consulted a military person and told him that was the best way to be respectful in protest. He has no career in NFL. So what are your thoughts on this gentleman being just given a fine? I'll start with you, Linnea.
We already know what that is. That's white privilege. We know what that is, clear as day.
Yeah.
And Nick Bosa has a history of saying things on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. He has a history of that. And I just wonder what the feel is in the locker room. Because if you take away all the in the NFL, if you take away all the black men in the NBA, you would have very boring leagues. No one would want to watch. So I would love to know what the feel is in that locker room with him and his black teammates, because that's the way that you feel. Mm-hmm. We all know what that is. You call a spade, and look, he said he would do it again. He said he's proud of it. So there's not going to be any uproar about it. He's going to continue to play and make his money. I just would love for someone to hit him extra hard. I don't know if he played the other night with San Francisco, but I would love it if, our brothers just hit him a little harder when he's on the field.
Chike, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, there's God, there's Jesus, then there's the NFL, right? The NFL probably is the single most organization that could probably put an end to what we're going to now. They could have endorsed someone, they could put some money behind, and they chose not to. So anything that goes down within that organization, F them.
Brittany?
Just pay the fine. Like, that's all I have to say. Like, at this point, it's about to be a whole lot of, like, stuff thrown in our face, things that are said.
Do you see what's developing here? Do you see what's developing here? We're starting to get numb and not care. And this is where we're going to go. People are fed up.
The president has been nominated, and we already know what's to come. This is just the beginning. He was elected into office, and they already starting. Like, he hasn't even taken his throne yet. And it's just like, just pay the fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, while many other beloved sitcoms are getting a reboot, there's also talks of reviving Family Matters. Fans were excited to see Steve Urkel, who was played by Jaleel White, on their series again after so many years. Despite the role shaping White's successful career, he's now explaining why he wasn't interested in bringing his popular character back to life. An ABC show spanned 8 seasons from 1989 to 1997, gaining a lot of viewers. Since the series was such a major hit back then, Netflix got the idea to bring the show to its streaming platform following the huge success of Fuller House. According to White, a reboot of Family Matters didn't make sense. In a recent promo video for his upcoming memoir, Growing Up Urkel, White says he was approached by one of the show's former producers around 2013, 2014 regarding the revival. Somewhere around 2013-14, I was approached by one of our former producers that Netflix had interest in doing a reboot of Family Matters on the heels of Fuller House, having done so well. And it didn't make sense to me, he began. He continued, I didn't feel that it was right for us to have a copy of Full House. Had done to fit inside someone's business model to capture the magic that made our show make sense. What I imagined for any reboot effort would be inspired by what really happened. How Family Matters came to pass is actually a greater story than what was made up inside the show. Now, the cultural impact of White's career is undeniable, but the actor has made it clear that he doesn't feel compelled to step back into the old role that kicked off his career. I'll start with you, Chike. You and linear actors. And was that a good idea? Do you understand where he's coming from, or do you think that was a missed opportunity?
So as you were talking, I was remembering him distinctly being fed up with playing Steve Urkel. He was unsatisfied, unfulfilled. He was almost indignant about playing Steve Urkel. And I get, the cash streams run low and, there's a cha-ching in it. I don't think that that's something that they should do long term. If they revisit it as like a little mini series, like 3-episode arc, and leave it alone, I think that it would do the justice if they want to do that. But I don't think that it should be like starting up a new series and a continuation like before, because I think that ultimately Mr. White will be where he was before, unsatisfied.
Linnea, they talked about Fuller House, also Roseanne. When it came back, it was super, super successful. It's now the Connors after her controversy, and she was fired, which it went on to do well. Do you agree with Chike?
An actor. It is so hard to break out of being typecast.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're not being fed, at some point that fit where you were. But when you want to grow, at some point people want to get out of the box that they like to try to keep us in. And you feel stifled, you don't feel creative, you don't feel that you don't feel like you have the liberty to explore anything else. And maybe that's where he is, per se. I mean, we all want to check, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes some things are better left alone than to rehash them. Personally, if Michelle, was it Thomas? If Myra was still alive, then maybe I can see it, because he should have ended up with Myra, not Laura.
Mm-hmm.
Myra was better for him. That dynamic, though, I would have said a spinoff show just with those two, and them having a spinoff. Then you may have something. But only really wanted somebody else wanted him.
Yeah.
Call me cynical, whatever. But I would say he's doing what feels right to him in this stage in his life.
Yeah. And Brittany, he's now hosting a game show. And I don't think he's been in a lot of roles since Urkel. If you were one of the cast members and that could be a potential check for you, would you be upset with him?
If I'd be upset, I kind of I mean, I think I'm pretty like a type of person where I can see both sides to it. So I can see how, like, even with Jack Nicholson, like, he will forever be the 90s Joker to me. Like, me and my son go back and forth all the time about whether Heath Ledger or him was the best Joker. And for me, out of costume and makeup, he still gives Joker. And I definitely understand how some actors get casted in a role and that's the only role you can see them in, and it's really hard to put them in anything else because of a role they played. And I do think that's what happened to Jaleel. So I can definitely understand, but I also see Fresh Prince. Will Smith played his hand in bringing that reboot, and I know people that love that reboot. I'm not a fan of it, but I thought it was a cute little reboot of it. Sometimes it works and then sometimes it doesn't. I do like when they have spinoffs, like the Blackish to Grownish, but I do think you have to know when to let a show go, because I think, like, even with the Fast and Furious chain, like, I'm sick of seeing that. Like, I think that sometimes you can overdo something for a little too long. So I do agree with, if they did do it, maybe do it like for a limited time or a mini series or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, when we come back, Trick Daddy explains why he doesn't identify as African American, and Yale University announced its new course on the one and only Beyonce. Right back after this.